Apostle Sheila. Happy Resurrection Sunday to each and every one of you. I pray that you've had a productive, loving, and joyful day with your family. I wanted to share just a quick nugget with you and let you know that I am still covering the pastors, the leaders, the fivefold leaders in prayer as we go through this pandemic. And I just pray that the Spirit of the living God rests within your homes, that peace is in your homes, that healing virtues flow through every area of your lives, not just for the corona-19 virus, but for every other ailment and sickness and disease that's plaguing the body of the people of God. I pray your healing. I pray your deliverance. I pray that God's comfort is there for you. And I pray that you're going through every situation pain-free, that my God is in complete control and that you are resting comfortably in the Master's hand. Now I want to share something else with you, and then I'm going to pray. But reading John, the 20th chapter, and focusing on verse 7, it was talking about what Jesus did before he left the tomb. They said that the strips of cloth that was wrapped around his body, he took those off and laid them down. But the napkin that was over his head, that one he folded. And it brings you back, and it brings back to my remembrance the tale. And I say the tale because it is some contradictions on the translations from that century in which Jesus walked the earth. But it is foretold that back then, it's a story about the master and the servant. And the master, when he ate his meal, the servant stood afar off, not too far, but he waited to clear the table after the master finished. And to find out or to know that the master was finished or whether he was coming back, it depended on what he did with his napkin. If the napkin was wadded up, that meant that the master was finished. Now, if the napkin was folded, it meant that the master was coming back. It meant that he wasn't finished yet with his meal. And it just parallels somewhat to what Jesus did in the tomb. The rest of the strips of cloth that was around his body, he said, I'm through with his body. I don't need it anymore. It won't serve me any goodness where I'm going. But the napkin told the greatest story. And the story that it told was that I will return. Because the napkin that was on his head was folded and placed aside. So even in his departure, he was still telling us a parable. So we appreciate that God that we serve. And we know one thing that's for sure. We are to imitate the Father, Jesus. And as we imitate him, we can imitate him by doing great and mighty things in this season. Joel chapter 2 says, and it's talking about the famine in the land and how the locust was going and tearing up the crops, how things were barren. And this is what Jesus instructed. He said the priests, the ones that Jesus called his priests, his servants, he said, I want you to lay out between the porch and the altar and cry out for my people. And the long story short, as they obeyed, as they interceded and they cried out for the people, oh, everything was restored to them. Everything that the locusts ate up, it was restored. Everything that was destroyed was restored. Right now, a lot of things are being destroyed. But there's a plan in place for restoration. The lives that are not being restored on earth, we're praying God's great grace of restoration in the heavenly places. So stay encouraged on this great Easter Sunday, Resurrection Sunday, and know that God has a plan and a purpose. And the main thing that we have to look forward to and hold on to is the fact that He is coming back. The last parable, so to speak, was Him folding up the napkin, saying, I'm coming back. I'm not done yet. I don't need the body anymore. It's the spirit. Those who serve me must serve me in spirit and in truth. And He said, I am going on, but greater works will you do, because you'll do it in my name. And I'm leaving my Holy Spirit with you to help you along the way. So we trust and we believe in the Holy Spirit of God. We trust and we believe in His resurrection. We trust and we believe in His return. And we'll wait on it. But while we're waiting, there's a work that must be done. And we, as His servants, are instructed to not to let go of the plow. It's not time for us to wad up our cloth. We can fold our napkins and say, this work that I'm doing, I'm not complete in doing it. It's not over. There's still more to be done. So He's calling on you right now, servants of the Most High God. Pick up your mantles. Seek and save the lost. Do everything that God requires of you to do, so that you will always have the ear of God. It's imperative that He hears us when we cry. So make sure that you're not